Next thing what we are going to do for our character is connecting our geometry to the bones. So we have to select our spine joint A, which is parent to the every joint in our hierarchy. And after that, by pressing shift, we are selecting here in the outliner the cube man, like this. So both of these highlighted, spine joint A, cube man, and then we are going into the skin section up here. So next to the skeleton, skin, bind skin, and with options. And here is few options what we can check. So bind to hierarchy, yes. We want to bind hierarchy because we have only selected one spine or one joint. Bind method, closest distance is okay. Classic linear is okay. Normalized weight have to be interactive, so we can modify those later on. Weight distribution distance and allow multiple bind poses can be left on. Max influences we can decrease to 3. So what this means that each vertex can be affected maximum by 3 different joints. And then actually we can press here bind skin. And the thing what happened, if we are now clicking here on the empty area, we can see that the skeleton is colorized. And joints are funny in that way that you cannot, or some of the joints you can modify with the transform tool, but usually what you want to do with the joints is press E and turn those uh, with rotation tool. The thing what I want to do now, my rotation tool, if I'm double clicking the icon here, it's reset to the world, so I want to change it to the object. And that's how I can rotate my bones alongside my bones own space. And now we can actually adjust these bones or modify these, and quite fast we see, if we are clicking the bones, that it's not quite right. The weights are not following correctly what they should follow, although this is also quite okay that we can pose our character. But to fix these weighting issues what we have to use paint skin weights tool, what I'm going to introduce in a sec. But before that, after we have turned our joints and we have some nice bows here, and we want to go back into the normal or back to the original pose, we can go here to the skin and click here, go to the bind pose, so it will reset the bone rotation. So up here under the skin menu, go to the bind pose, and we are back where we started. Then we can start actually the skin weighting. Before that, I'm going to hide my attribute editor, and I'm going to hide my modeling toolkit, and I'm going to hide my channel box just by clicking them. So now they are hidden, and I have a little bit more space to work with my skin weights. And I'm going to access my skin weights by coming on top of my mesh and pressing mouse's right down. And now you can see that when we have binded these bones into this mesh, we have this new option, Paint Skin Weights tool. And right away when we select that, we can see that okay, now our mesh turns grayscale, and then we get this kind of window opened here, where is first of all up here there is all of our joints listed, what we have in our bone hierarchy. And after that we have here a couple of other settings uh, which are how we want to add or remove weights. So paint operation around here is there is replace, add, smooth and scale. What are different methods to add these skin weights. And then there is under the paint operation there is weight type, which is skin weight is good, normalized weight, interactive is okay. And then there is opacity and value, which are on what level we are going to add some influence to certain bones. Okay, this makes lots of more sense after a while. So first thing what I want you to do is that you click through these bones, and then you can see all the points what are affected by that bone. So for example, if I click my R leg joint A, all these vertices, and I think I didn't say it clear enough. The thing what we are doing here in the weight paint is we are adjusting uh, the power on what each bone is affecting the vertices of our mesh. So when we are painting, we are clicking on vertices, not on faces, not on edges, on vertices, because we want to change the effect on what on with on what power the vertex will follow the rotation of each bone. And the thing here is that when Maya does this skin binding, it's doing something average, so it's just guessing what we want to what values we want to use. So that's why we have to delete some values and then uh, change those as well. So now if we are looking this R leg joint A, we can see that okay, the joint is here, but it will affect to the this side of our torso, for example, and that's something what I don't want. And then there is this light gray on this area, and I definitely want that my uh, right leg or left leg is affected by the joint from my right leg. So this is something what I start to fix now. Uh, so paint operation selected to be replace, and opacity and value are 1, and after that I think the red round area is the brush, and it's quite large at the moment. So basically what I'm doing, I come down here on my tool settings and I open the stroke, and I'm changing the radius of my radius U of my stroke to be something like 0.25, so it's smaller, so I can do more precise work. And with opacity value 1 and value 1 and paint operation replace, I just paint where I want to that there is 100% of effectiveness. So basically here on the R leg joint A, I want that this joint, because these are so near of it, these vertices, I want that there is 100% of effectiveness of that joint. And then I'm basically doing the same thing for my L leg. So I'm selecting L leg joint A, and I'm adding 100% effectiveness here to this one. And then I'm doing the easy parts first. So then L leg joint C, I'm adding 100% of effectiveness here down in the bottom, like this, and same to the L leg joint C, and value with 100. It will be now affected 100% of that. Then next thing what I'm doing is bind joint A here. I want to add 100% affected for all of these 6 down here. Okay, and at this point I can press Q. So I will test how my weights are adjusted now. So I'm pressing E while I have selected the joint, and now I can see that because I painted here 100% effect for this joint A, the top of the leg is just following it. And same here. And because I painted also 100% value for the joint spine joint A, the bottom of the leg or the torso is not affected by the leg, but we can actually still see that leg affects to the side of the character. So that's something what we should adjust in a sec. So I'm returning my bind pose. So I come up here, skin, go to bind pose, and there it is. And then again on top of my mesh, I'm pressing mouse's right down and selecting paint skin weights tool. And the next thing what we want to do is that we are selecting L leg, and we can see that there is this uh, gray values. And now what we are going to do is that we want those gray values to go to the spine joint P, because we can see that, okay, there is this joint which is probably spine joint B. So first of all we are going to come on top of our L leg joint A here in the tool settings and pressing mouse's right, and then lock inverse selection. And when I'm doing that, I can show you. So here are these lock icons, and these lock icons means that if it's locked like this, you cannot affect the weights what are connected to that joint. And because we want to transform some of the weights of L leg straight to the uh, spine joint P, we want that only L leg and spine joint B are unlocked and everything else is locked. So then Maya knows that we want to transform those weights from the L leg straight to the spine joint B. And thing how to do that is that when you have L leg joint A active, you are pressing mouse's right on top of it, and then you are selecting lock inverse selection, which means that everything else is going to be locked. And then we just have to find spine joint B. So I'm scrolling a bit down and then pressing a lock like here. So now these two are only open. And then I'm pressing or changing this value of 1 down here to be 0. So now we are painting value of 0 to these gray areas. Like here. And now, if we are clicking spine joint B, we can see that the value has changed here. There is no more L leg joint A affecting this. And the thing what we want to do also, we see that here on the right side there is the L leg joint A affecting this leg. So now we can actually close this spine joint B, and then we can open our leg joint B. here and then just paint these values, which will go straight now to the L-leg joint B because it's open. So the thing to remember here, if you want to remove the value from some joint to be 0, you have to unlock or lock every else joint except those two where from you are removing and where from you want it to go. Otherwise, Maya will do its own guessing, and that's never good when Maya is guessing because normally it guesses wrong. But let's do this again on the right side. Now on top of L-leg joint A, I'm going to select unlock inverse selection. And now everything is unlocked. And I'm selecting here from the hierarchy R-leg joint A. And then on top of R-leg joint A, pressing mouse's right and lock inverse selection. So I'm going to lock everything else except R-leg. And the thing here was first that I want to that the weight here in the torso goes to the spine joint B. So I'm opening spine joint B. And then with value of 0, I'm painting these here. Like this. And then, because I see that here is light gray, so it's probably some 0.15 effectiveness or 0.25 effectiveness to this leg. So this here is affecting these vertices here. I have to change the spine joint B because now if I'm just painting the value of 0 here, these vertices are going to follow spine joint B, what is here. So that's no good. So that's why I'm locking spine joint B and then opening L-leg joint B. And all those values are jumping this joint there. Okay. And then again, when I'm happy with the result, I'm pressing mouse's right on top of joint A and unlock inverse selection. And after this, I can press Q and I can test how my weighting works. So now as you can see, I'm rotating my leg and it's not anymore affecting to the side. Although there is something funky happening still on my legs. But the main thing is that everything is correct here. And if I moving this joint here, yeah, it works. That works as well. And that works as well. Our spine actually works quite neatly. We don't have to fix that, but the legs is still something what we need to work on with. So now when I have posed my character, I go back to the skin and go to bind pose. I have my mesh active, so if you have your skeleton active and you want it to go back to the bind pose, it won't work. You have to select your mesh active. And then again on top of the mesh, paint skin weights tool. First, of course, you press mouse's right down so you can access to this options menu. Select that. And now I wanna really see what's going on with this L or air leg joint B. And here we can see that okay, there's definitely something going on, because if I select L leg joint B, the joint is here, but it will affect to this other side, which is no good. So that's why I come on top of my joint hierarchy here and pressing mouse's right, lock inverse selection. And after that, I want that these weights here are transformed to R leg joint B, which is here. So I just will open this lock here, and then because my value here is 0, so I'm ready to start painting again. I just paint these to black like this, and then I check, okay, nothing here. And then basically, because we are changing these weights vice versa, I can just select R leg joint B to be active. And now when I'm painting these with black, the values are transformed straight to this joint. And then I come on top of my R leg joint B, pressing mouse's right, unlock inverse selection, pressing Q, and let's see how these are working. So pressing E to get my rotation, and now as you can see, the legs are now working neatly. There is no unnecessary, or not unnecessary, but there is no glitches on our legs, which is good. Okay. Then I think next thing what we want to fix is the head. Because if you are turning around your head, you probably notice that, okay, it's broken a bit. And actually quite a lot broken. So click your mesh to be active. You come up here to the skin and go to bind pose. Everything again normal. And before we are fixing the head at this point, please press Command S to save. So now we are safe if something crashes. And on top of the mesh, just press mouse right down, paint skin weights tool. And every lock is open currently, so let's find our head. Actually, we are going to select next joint A, and we are just pressing mouse's right on top of next joint A, and lock inverse selection. So joint, select it, press mouse right to get this menu, lock inverse selection, and then you can see that everything else is locked. And or actually let's unlock inverse selection for a while, because the thing what we are going to do here is that we are changing our value to 1, because we want that our head is only following this joint. So we can actually paint it with value of 100, like every vertex of this cube here. So the head need to be as wide as it can be, so there is 100% effectiveness with that neck joint to that head. And that's why we keep these locks open, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to override other bone effectiveness values what were assigned to the head. Okay, and now the thing what we want to do, we come up here on top of neck joint A, press mouse right and lock inverse selection, and then we want to transform or transfer these gray values around here to go to spine joint D here. You can click it to active, so you can see that okay, it's active, and then we open this lock and we are changing here down here our value to be 0, and then we go back to our neck and we are going to paint these black, these gray values here, and now all the effect is going back to spine joint D like this. Okay, at this point we can again press Q, and then we can move our head by pressing E, and as we can see it follows completely our head. And actually, if we look really closely, there is some wiggling on our shoulder joints, but we can actually fix that later on, so don't worry about that. Then let's check how this is going. It's going nice. The values are assigned back to that. Okay, now we have fixed already half of our character. The thing what I want to still know is the sides of our character are not affected by the uh, arms or arm joints, which is nice. So we don't have to worry about that. So next thing, going back to the bind bows and checking up those shoulders, and then our weights are quite ready. So the mesh selected, go to skin, and go to bind bows. Everything reset it. And on top of my mesh, I'm clicking mouse's right down, paint skin weights tool. And now I have to come on top of my spine joint D, because it's only open. But I can see, clicking here, mouse right, unlock, inverse selection, everything now opened. Then I have to select R arm joint A, and as I can see, the shoulder here is affecting bones here. So basically I want that these values here, or these gray values, go onto the spine joint D. So locking again, clicking mouse's right and lock inverse selection, and then I have to find spine joint D right here, and I want that this is going to be, or going to go there. So clicking R arm joint A active, and then my value is 0. I can just paint this to be black, and then this black. All values gone from there. And because I want to do that on the other side as well, I'm going to lock R arm joint A and select L arm joint A, select that to be active, and then just painting these values of here like this, and now they are there. And the thing what I want to do next is on top of L arm joint A, pressing mouse's right and unlock inverse selection, so everything unlocked, and with L arm selected I'm changing the value to be 1, and then I just add the highest value here like this, so nothing else is affected to these and they will be stable, and same to the R arm joint A. And now it will be correct. And then I can press Q again. And now let's check that everything is as it should be. Pressing E, nothing else moves here, nothing else here. And it works here and here. And at this point I recommend you to save. And we are going to have 20 minutes break, and I will see that all of you get your model weight painted.